the good old days, this time of the year, the main focus for many people was the flu season, and hoping that the flu shot you got was the right concoction with the latest flu variant. Nowadays, the flu is the least of our problems as we deal with RSV and the latest COVID variant and so many different respiratory viruses. They don't even have names. And we all have to be, on guard. There's nothing like that feeling about being in a restaurant or perhaps, at a meeting and somebody 5 feet away from you is hacking out of control and you just feel, oh, please, 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 please don't let me get anything. This anxiety, trying to keep ourselves healthy. The scriptures today are about dealing with viruses that can change our lives. And the most contagious and dreaded of diseases in the ancient world was leprosy. And there was no way to hide that you were a leper. It became very obvious to people very quickly that you had this very contagious disease. And it was, for all intents and purposes, a death sentence. Because of its contagious factor, lepers were driven out of the villages and towns. They had to live in the far outskirts, totally marginalized, totally isolated, totally avoided, totally judged, many people attaching moral judgment to their physical ailments. For someone to be healed of leprosy was really, in a sense, to be born again. And we hear incidences in both readings today of the God of life, healing lepers, restoring them to the community, bringing them back to the table, returning them to the full life of the village where they had been isolated and separated from. Lent, in a way, is about our journey of confronting spiritual viruses that creep into our heart and our souls. Viruses that begin to attack our sense of right and wrong, of good and evil. Viruses that, if left unchallenged, can deeply affect the quality of our life and our relationships with others. Spiritual viruses have at their source events, circumstances that are not visible to people outside. Someone might not know the burden someone has carried because they were a victim of domestic violence, or they were abandoned as a child, or they were a victim of a sexual assault. We can't see on the surface someone who has carried heavy burdens in their life resulting from being treated unfairly, someone who has been hurt by the circumstances of a betrayed friendship, someone who let them down, someone who wasn't there, and coping with that loss, that memory, that sense of isolation is a virus that impedes the quality of their life. Lent comes along and it says to us, we can be healed. There's no virus we can't be healed from. We can be healed of whatever it is that's keeping us from living a life of peace and tranquility and hope and mercy. And Lent comes along and invites us to name those sins and to surrender them to the Lord. Sometimes the source of this virus was nothing we did, it was something done to us. But we cope with it in a very negative way. And it affects how we relate to other people and how we see the world. Viruses that are manifested in self-righteousness, the need to judge others, to hurt people with our words or our actions, to choose not to be aware of the needs of the poor or the hungry, to isolate ourselves from any kind of compassion to someone in our family who is hurting or wounded, the kind of viruses that force us sometimes to lash out at others and to do things that cause great shame as we reflect on, why did I say that? Why did I do that? Why did I choose to respond in that manner? And to some degree, all of us can have our own stories of our struggles with spiritual viruses. But today, the scriptures remind us that there is no virus that can't be healed. There's no wound. There's no force within the recesses of our heart and soul that cannot be liberated by God's love and mercy. And Lent is all about trusting and surrendering to the will of God. To know that no matter what the burden is, no matter how difficult we are having, dealing with difficult people or difficult memories or difficult situations, the redemptive love of Jesus Christ can heal us. The redemptive love of Jesus Christ can make us a better person. The redemptive love of Jesus can help us leave behind the viruses of self-centeredness, of judgment, of meanness, of anger, of despair, to embrace his powerful promise of new life and new hope. We are beginning to draw to the midpoint of the Lenten journey. Let's be resilient. Let's get inoculated with the love of Jesus, the Word of God, the Eucharist. We have this war chest of tools that can help us confront any spiritual virus, and on Easter, be born again.
Thank you for participating in this production of our virtual Mass. Your presence means so much. Every day, so many parishioners connect to OLPH through the digital ministry. The digital ministry is one of almost 80 ministries supported by the parish. That's why your support of the parish is crucial, so we can continue to have the resources to fund all of our ministries that touch the lives of many. Thank you for watching, continue to watch, and thanks again for your support.